Right, hello. Now here's something completely different. My sister-in-law Debbie has given me her Valencia guitar to have a little bit of a look at. It's got a few problems. This is it. This is what she looks like. Quite an old guitar. Still got the strap there. There's his Valencia. I think these are made in China. It's got surprises there. That looks interesting. That bridge doesn't look too healthy. No, it's just come straight off, and it's got 2 screws in it. That's very interesting. That's how they're manufactured, just quietly too. Now let's see what's underneath this tape. We'll just pull this off. Come on now. Right, come on. We'll just get this off. Come on. Being stubborn. Come on. You can see it's had quite a bash. Someone's used it as a club, I think. Yes, that looks quite nasty. Yes, that's going to be a bit of a challenge to repair, since I'm not a luthier or a woodworker. First up, we'll give it a bit of a clean. So here I'm just polishing the fretboard and the guitar body down. I used some lemon oil on the fretboard to give it a bit of a quick clean and spruce up. Here's another look at that hole. Yeah, there's quite a little bit of damage there. A view from the inside of the guitar. You can see that it's a plywood construction. Yeah, not too bad though. We just need to clean that hole up, and we need to clean this soundboard up where the bridge was. We'll get this old glue off, and the best way to get that off is just to sand it down. So just using a bit of heavy grade sandpaper here just to get the biggest lumps off, and then we'll just move down to a finer grade of sandpaper to smooth it off, just so the glue's got something to purchase on. So yeah, finer grade sandpaper here. And it's just sanding. A lot of sanding. Sanding away. This glue was actually quite stubborn to come off. I don't know what the original glue was, but I just used a little bit of wood glue to start with. And then I thought, now how am I going to clamp this bridge down after I glued it? Well, this isn't going to work. So I had not going to work. So I had the idea of using a board at the bottom and then get a board at the top to sort of sandwich the guitar between them. And then with a clamp at the back, holding that there, and a clamp at the front, holding that there. That should squeeze the 2 boards down and hold the bridge down nice and tight. That'll work, I think. So a bit of glue, spread that out so it's nice and even. And then we'll just glue the bridge down, clean it up with a bit of a damp cloth, all the squeeze out, and get a board on top and clamp her down and leave that overnight and see what happens. Okay, after we've clamped that on, then it's time to look at this hole. So I pulled a piece of the plywood out that was broken on the inside, and I'm going to use that as a base, just like so, and we can use that as a base to repair. So we just need to put some glue on those pieces and whack them in. Spread it out nice and even. And get it in there. So we just whack it up there, hold it down, see if we can get it to stick. Let those pieces, after they do stick, it was quite challenging actually to get that to stick. And once we stick it, I've filled it with more wood glue. As you can see there, I've just got lots of glue in there, and I've used some of the older pieces that fell out to try and put some of the top back on. Unfortunately, not all the pieces were usable. And so after the bridge is glued down, I'll put the original screws back in. Don't know why they use screws, but and obviously they weren't confident in their bridge design. But we'll screw them down anyway. That's how it came, so that's what we'll do. Just like so, and we'll get the second one in. Just another look at the fretboard there. You can see it's plywood. It's not a solid piece of wood. That's plywood construction there. So now we're just using some wood filler to fill in the gaps that the wood glue didn't fill in, and just to add a little bit more strength. And so we'll get some wood filler in there. I just pushed it in with my fingers first to make sure it was in all the nooks and crannies. And then we'll smooth it out a bit later with just a piece of cardboard there. Like so. Little messy, but we can clean that up with a damp cloth. I tried to get that other piece I've put in there sort of level with the rest of the guitar, so that when it gets finished it'll be nice and even with the rest of it. And unfortunately, it didn't quite work out like I wanted it to, but you know, it was good enough. And we just scrape the excess off. And hopefully it's nice and flat. You see there's a little bit of pull out. And so we'll clean that up. And then when that dries, we'll sand it back, and hopefully it's nice and flat. Okay, while we're waiting for that to dry, I'll just go around the edges of the guitar with some shellac where it's been chipped, and we'll just clean them up a little bit. Before I shellacked it, I went over it with a black texture just to put some of the black back around, because that's only a painted binding. So I just blacked it and shellacked over it. Then also, while we're waiting for things to dry, we'll just clean up these frets. Now they look like they're maybe brass frets, so I sanded them down and I polished them up, oiling the board properly now with some proper board oil. That really cleans it up. Now again, it's only a plywood fretboard. It's not rosewood or ebony or anything exotic. But it's always nice to have a nice clean fretboard. And so we'll just give that a nice clean and a recondition there. And I did give the frets a bit of a polish with some Auto Sol, which cleaned them up quite nicely. Okay, now that the bridge has been glued back on, it's time to put some strings on. So we'll get rid of these old strings that were on it. And time to put the new strings on. So a new pack of classical strings. The old ones were all steel, which probably weren't the best fit for this style of guitar. It is supposed to be a nylon string guitar. And match the strings up with the colour code on the back of the packet. You'll see there that it was colour coded and the strings are different colours. And we'll just thread them on and tie them on. This took quite some time actually because of the tying that you have to do. It's not complicated, but they sometimes slip off. The strings with the winding on them will stick better, so you don't have to really tie them in a knot. But the nylon strings do sometimes slip, so you have to tie them a little bit more complicated. Nip off the ends. Go to the next ones, you'll see the colour code. The ends of the strings are colour coded to the package so that you get them in the right order. So put them in, tie them off, snip them off the ends and then tie the heads. And so on and so on. Now this Valencia guitar, it's only a cheap guitar. You can buy these things for $30 on the second-hand market. But has a lot of sentimental value, this guitar. It did belong to Debbie when she was younger, so she'd like to get it back into playable condition, which is what we're doing now. Just putting the last of the strings on, making sure they're tied properly so that they don't slip out. And whacking them in the tuning pegs. Give a bit of a tighten up. And then once these are on, we can tune the guitar up, which I did. And then one by one we tune the guitar to pitch and get the guitar under full tension, which unfortunately it didn't like. You can see there the bridge has lifted and the glue hasn't held. Now that was a indoor wood glue I was using, which didn't have the hold strength that I was wanting. Now unfortunately this bridge ripped off, which meant I had to take the bridge off again. Slid a knife under there to just get rid of what glue did take. I've forgotten to pull the screws out, so I've come against a screw there. And so I just went to the other side, come against the other screw, undid the screws and took the bridge off. And then we have to do the whole process again and sand the bridge. But while I was doing that, I did notice that this old bridge had a bit of flaking shellac on it. So I took all the old shellac finish off, just scraped it off with my fingernail. You can see there it's all coming off all over the guitar, and just cleaned that back up after I scraped all the shellac off the original bridge. I gave it a bit of a polish. Doing it properly this time, I just tape out where I'm going to glue, because The next glue that I'm using is a little bit strong. Well, it's a lot more stronger than the old glue. And protects the soundboard a bit more when I was sanding, so I didn't scratch outside the lines. And then you have to sand all the old glue off so that the new glue and the bridge has something to stick to. Some stubborn pieces. And so more sanding and more sanding. With the help of a bit of a knife. Right, so we get all the old dust off, make sure it's nice and clean, wipe it with a damp rag, and dry it, then wipe it off again, and then we've got a nice finish to stick this new glue with. Now this new glue says that it bonds, the strength of it bonds stronger than the wood. This Durabond, so hopefully this will stick this time. So do the process again, glue the fretboard down, and with the tape there, the squeeze out, you can just pull the tape off and it leaves a nice nice line. You can see there the glue's all squeezed out over the tape. Did try to clean some excess off where I hadn't taped it, and then you see, yeah, you can pull the tape off and the excess glue comes off. Bit tricky here. I used the boards to the neck instead of the other clamp, and just while I'm waiting for that, I sanded down where we've filled in the awful hole on the side there. This took a fair bit of time because I put different layers on, and you had to wait hours between each layer for it to dry while I built it up. Now I didn't have any paints or stains to match the guitar handy, so I just grabbed a pencil set and used some coloured pencils to try and match the colours. Started with a gold base to match the gold tones in the guitar, and just used whatever colours I had on hand. Not professional, I know, but it's all I had on me, and yeah, I don't think I did that bad of a job, considering. I did wish I had some proper stains. I could have done it a little bit more professionally, but you know, it was looking woodish. You got your browns and the golds and the yellows in there, so it sort of matches. I mean, it's not going to be pretty, but it does show the history of the guitar still. Some reds in there as well to just try and match the colour a little bit more. There you go, and that's the result. So after that was on, I just hit it with some more shellac over the top just to seal it off, and that's it. I clamped the guitar bricks down again, and it worked this time.